What is up, guys? And today we have a Rift video for you guys. I decided to make this video because we're pretty decently into the Rift season, the Fire Rift season. So most of you guys probably have your Rift controller at least at like level 15, I'd say, if you've been farming it, or like level 8. This team I'm going to show you can start one turning or one rounding the boss after like Rift 15, Rift 16ish. Mine's obviously maxed out, so it's more stable. But you're going to actually see you can start one turning if you get lucky after like Rift controller 15 with this team, depending on how debuffs land and how like the back row unit attacks multiple times, because the dimensional fragment of multiplicity here, a lot of RNG. If you proc it a lot, you'll clear very fast. If you don't, you might have to two turn it or even 3 turn it. So yeah, up until 21, you should be able to at least 2 turn it, maybe 3 turn it. But once you hit Rift controller level 21, you should be seeing that your team will consistently one turn, one round it. Sometimes if you get unlucky, you'll have to do 2 rounds, which we see with my team. So yes, this is my team here. Pretty simple. You have Mascot Hazel. You want her at 220% effect resist. She's very good because she gives bonus effectiveness to your team with her skill tree, and also because she just gives tons of attack buffs to your team. You don't want her super fast because you don't want her to take turns away from your damage dealers, but you want her to be fast enough where she's actually keeping your team alive. And you want her on Idol's Cheer because your main DPS unit, whatever unit you're using, will be on low speed and like full damage for the most part. Next, 2 units we're going to talk about. I think these units are very powerful. The first one is Haste. If you guys don't have Haste or don't want to build them, you can use Elfelt. You can also use Fire Ken. They work fine as well. But Haste is very good with his defense breaks and his healing from his S2. And he's just very strong. You want to make sure he's 95% effectiveness or above. You want him on the defense break on his S1 to go up, because it just makes it more consistent. And you want him to be the fastest on your team because you want him to land your defense break first. I like to run him on Prophetic Candlestick. Obviously mine's not maxed out. Don't really want to waste charms on it. Works fine how it is. If you guys don't want to use Candlestick, you can also use something like Albastron to lower the stat requirements, or even Torn Sleeve. But I think this Candlestick's very nice because not really is it for the S3 cooldown, it's for the S2, because you want it to be healing your team a lot. This S2 is just super strong, and sometimes if you get unlucky and you don't reset a lot, you're actually going to have a unit or 2 die, usually Haste or Siren, which we'll talk about, because they don't have built-in healing on their S1 like the unit I use does, Milim. So because of that, this is very nice on him. Next we have Siren. I think Siren is a must-have on pretty much any team for the most part, because she's so damn strong. So her S3 is very good. This is why you want her to go second after Haste, because you'll extend debuff durations, which will extend the defense break to 3 turns. So what usually happens on the first turn, if Haste lands defense break and Siren extends it, then basically even if Haste dies, the defense break should be up for pretty much the entire fight, which is very nice. Also on Candlestick, you want her on your best one because her S3 is just so broken. She also does a ton of damage with her S3 and her S2 as well, so she's a very solid unit. Good unit to Grace of Growth because you don't really need the S1 damage, to be honest. With Candlestick, she's going to be S3ing and S2ing a lot, so very good to use this on her. And of course, you want her on 95% effectiveness or above. You want her to be fast, but not faster than Haste. And you want the rest to go into damage, preferably into crit damage, because it just scales better with her multipliers. And next, I think after these 3 units, I think these 3 units, if you have this trio in the front here, you should be very good for Rift. They're like the strongest units for Rift, I'd say. And then for your damage dealer, it's really up to you on what you have. I think Kayn is the best option, but I didn't pull for Kayn because he looked like a one-trick pony for Rift, and I didn't really want to waste bookmarks at that time. So I'm using Milim. You can also use like Jacko, you can also use Fire Ken, but I'm finding a lot of success with Milim because she scales very well with that double hit in the back row unit. If she actually lands multiple dragon dives and procs it, you'll actually land a lot of your S2s, and this just gives you a ton more damage, and her S1 hits like a truck, so you want to use her with her skills off. I have her on a Rage set, and I also have her on Kaladra. It's going to be the best artifact for mages. If you're running Kayn, you want Alensa Nox's Wrath, and for Milim, here I have healing on her S1, so she can sustain herself. Usually one S1 will top her off. Now with Milim, you want her at minimum speed because you have actually Mascot Hazel boosting her with Idol's Cheer, so you just want full damage on Rage set on your Milim or your Jacko. Or if you're using Kayn, you're going to want a little bit different stats for Kayn. You want him on a little bit more speed. But for any other DPS, you want minimum speed and full damage. Now, like I said, with Milim, you want skills off, preferably with Jacko as well, because you want to be proccing that dimensional thing where you actually have a chance to actually use your basic attack again if you use it. Makes it very powerful. Now this team, pretty consistent. The only time I don't actually one turn it is if my Haste misses defense break with his S3, because it's not 100% chance. And then also what has to happen is the boss needs to be overloaded with debuffs. And what I mean by that is the boss can actually only hold up to 10 debuffs. So if I stack too many bleeds and my haste can't reapply defense break for like, you know, the next cycle, then usually I can't actually kill it in one turn. It'll take me 2 turns or 2 like runs to kill it, which is still fine. So there is that small RNG because I only run 1 defense breaker and I'm running so many debuffs. So you have to keep that in mind. Rift is just very RNG heavy. So you want to kind of be aware of that. You're not going to 100% one-shot every single run unless you have super cracked gear and super cracked speed tuning. So yeah, keep that in mind when using this team, but it's a very, very good, I wouldn't say free-to-play option because Milim is a collab unit, but people have been playing for a long time and skipped on Kayn because he seemed like he's only good for Rift, which I know a lot of people did. You can always use like Milim or Jacko, those 2 collab units, or even Elfelt, or even like Fire Ken like I mentioned. And I'll show you guys how this team works, and you guys will be able to see, you know, how strong this team can actually be if you get some lucky RNG, and why this team works. Even if units die, right, because you have lack of healing, you know, Milim is just so strong that if you bring the boss low enough before your team dies, which is usually around like 2x, 1x bar left, then she can still clear the boss pretty easily, as you'll see.
지옥의 낫으로 갈라주지. 모든 게 파멸할 거야.
빨리 해치워 버립시다.
갑니다. 괜찮네. 나랑 놀아준 대가야. 각오하시죠. 벌써 끝은 아니지?
서둘러주세요. 급하답니다.
몰라요. 파멸할 거야. 지옥의 낫으로 갈라주지. 갑니다. 나랑 놀아준 대가야. 각오하시죠. 지옥의 낫으로 갈라주지. 각오하시죠. 놀아준 대가야. 귀찮네.
빨리 해치워 버립시다.
모든 게 파멸할 거야.
어머나,
각오하시죠. 갑니다. 다 죽여버리겠어.
서둘러주세요.
벌써
부탁합니다.
끝은 아니지?
내가 더面白かったのだ。俺にいいものを見せてやろう。몰라요.
나랑 놀아준 대가야.